Now, speaking of money, Anthony, there is a $100 price difference, and a lot of people are predicting maybe Xbox would pull the Kinect out, go down to $399. Doesn't seem like that's happening at least yet. That $100 difference between the systems, how much of a difference do you think that's going to make, especially when we have people like John Carmack saying, hey, they're basically the same thing?
I think it kind of just solidifies what you were saying, that like the people who are going to get it are the people who already decided, oh, I have to get the new thing immediately. Right. I think, when in the PS3 and the Xbox 360 life cycle, there was a really long time where PS1 and PS2 were still outselling or just selling like ridiculous numbers in comparison to the PS3 because the games were still there and they were still really solid and the price point was so much lower. It could be that, yeah, we maybe have a situation like that again where for the first couple of years, like, I know a guy who has an Xbox 360 and then at some point, Gears of War comes out, it's like, oh, well, crap, now we all have to get one. And then it just sort of, again, it's the software exclusives.
Right. So, Mitch, you talked about software last time we came to you. Which games are you really excited about for these new systems when they come out later this year?
The one I'm want the most of all is Titanfall, but it's not coming out until next year.
Not coming this year, that's what I mean.
It's not, yeah. So this year I'm really looking forward to all of the stuff that Ubisoft is doing with like Watch Dogs and see what they're capable of doing on next gen with that. And honestly, the tablet stuff in that sounds really fascinating. And I'm excited to see how that connectivity plays through. Like if Anthony's with it on his iPad, how do we interact with each other? And does that work as well as expected? Battlefield 4 looks incredible. It's crazy. I don't know how they're going to do that game at that level of destruction at scale on an Xbox 360. I have no idea how that's going to.
We haven't seen it yet. We may not see it.
Yeah, and I don't think we will until that's out.
They probably don't know either.
Yeah, they absolutely
trying
don't.
to figure out how
they're working it out. But so those are the games that really speak to you.
Yeah, and I'm also just interested to see how each platform holder takes advantage of free-to-play. We have, like, Warframe is coming to PS4, and Killer Instinct is coming to Xbox One, and there's a lot of discussion about whether or not that's free-to-play, but that kind of stuff where you can just jump in and play it on day one without having to buy a disc. You just bring your console home, and there is stuff there for you to play. Yeah. That's really exciting, and whatever is there, like, I'm really excited to check that out and play with those people.
But one of the challenges publishers face, and Pete, you can probably talk to this, is that it's such a small install base right at the beginning. I mean, that's why we're seeing, I think, so many games come out on Xbox 360 and the new machines. Right. At what point do you think it gets interesting for publishers to do games exclusively and really focus on just the new platforms?
It's a good question. I mean, you see some folks that are taking that approach already. I think the tipping point is next holidays. Okay. I think next holidays is the point at which you're really going to have to think hard about how viable the 360 and PS3 audience still is. Yep. And you're sort of going to have to guess early on, right? You can't there's no way to know now exactly what that's going to be like. How much room does GameStop still give to 360 and PS3 games? How much space does Best Buy give to what we have as the current gen stuff? Those are big deciding factors, because if they're not going to give you much space or you can't put much in there, then you start to not even be able to recoup the cost of well, how are we getting Battlefield 4? Like, how much time are we spending to get Battlefield 4 to run good on the 360 versus let's just all focus on the next one and put all of our energies into that, because there is a divided focus. Every platform you support, well, how is it running on that platform? So I think next holidays for a lot of folks is going to be the point at which you're seeing folks, go one way or the other whole hog. Next year, you'll see a little bit of both because, as you said, there's only so many of the next gens out there. But after that, once you get into the end of next year, you're going to see, I think, more folks starting to divide into a lot fewer across 5 platforms and a lot more that'll just be next gen only.
And when do you guys have to make that choice? It's almost like coming
now.
Now you have to
now, and we have guys, for a lot of the projects that we have that are unannounced, having to talk about those things and make those decisions and say, well, what does it mean if we try and support the current gen? Are there features that we have to cut, or is this even possible?
And what's the answer to that? I mean, are there, because the systems are somewhat similar.
The issue is really overhead. That what you're finding with the next-gen consoles is that you can add in some new stuff that makes the game look better or feel better, and then you go to put that into a current gen, and you say, well, we're already out of the memory headroom that we've got to start adding things in, so you've either got to spend a lot of time optimizing to make more room to add in
features,
stuff, or just not have it. Well, this game's got volumetric fog, and that one, that platform doesn't support it, but content-wise, they're the same. It's a balancing act. We're going through that right now with Wolf, and obviously it's difficult because the consoles are still changing technically on what they do, as you mentioned. Oh, well, now our GPU is going to be this, and it was this last week, so. That moving target certainly makes it a little bit more difficult.
Makes it fun for the developers, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
All right, well, when we come back in the bonus round, we are going to talk about PC gaming, a topic all you guys love. That's next week, right here in the bonus round. Bye.